What's up guys, I'm Ryan, I'm one of the tutors from the Econ Tutoring Center, and today I'm going to go over an example of public versus private good that'll hopefully give you guys a better idea of kind of what the difference is and how they might change what a market looks like. First of all, remember that notation may change between professors, so always make sure to check to be sure that what the notation language that we're using is the same as your professors. Okay, so I'm going to hop right into the example here. So the example here we're given the demands at each price for 3 different consumers. And so in the first case, I'm going to look if, so this is just essentially saying that if the price is $10, Manny's going to demand 3 feet, Mo's going to demand 2 feet, and Jack's going to demand 1 feet. So essentially the way we're going to do this is we're going to kind of derive the demand curves if this were a public good and if it were a private good. And you'll see how they're different. And then we can maybe answer some questions about them. So first, let's assume it is a public good. Okay, and in this case, I think the question that we're given says that the marginal cost is 30, which means that essentially supply is going to be a constant right here at 30. And that is marginal cost. Okay, or supply, I guess. Okay, so now we can kind of use this chart here to derive demand. Okay, so if this is a public good, the way we have to think about demand is what is the total benefit from society for each unit. So for 1 unit, so 1 foot of, I guess this might be fencing or something. For 1 foot of fencing, what is the total societal benefit for that unit? So in that case, we know that Manny values it at $20, Mo values it at $15, and Jack values it at $10. So the total benefit is just 20 plus 15 plus 10, which is 45. So we know this point is somewhere up here at $45, and that is the first point of demand. And then we can do the same thing for 2 feet here. So what is the total societal benefit for 2 feet of fencing? And that's going to be 15 from Manny, 10 from Mo, and 5 from Jack, which is going to get us 30. So we can already kind of start to guess that that might be the equilibrium here, but I'll keep doing the rest of the demand curve anyway. At 3 feet here, the total benefit to society is 10 plus 5 plus 0, so 15. So this becomes maybe 15 somewhere in here. Right, and now we can do the same for 4 feet. 4 feet, 5 and 0, so that's just going to be 5. And at 5 feet, no one benefits it. No one would pay anything for 5 units. So that is just going to be at 0 here. Okay, so then we get this demand curve. If I can draw a line correctly, it looks like that, which is fine. It's downward sloping. And so now we have supply and demand. And so in this case, if the marginal cost is 30, the market equilibrium is going to be 2 here. So there's going to be 2 units sold if this fencing or whatever it is a public good. So now we can kind of re-derive this demand curve, and I will leave this. I'll leave this one up here so that you can kind of see the difference here. If this were a, actually take that back. I'm going to erase this because I think we get a little bit too cluttered. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how we derive that demand curve if it's a public good. And now I'm going to show the case when it's a private good. When a private good is just kind of the, how we normally think of goods. And I'll change this so it's clear that this is a now if this fencing is a private good. Okay, so now the way you have to think about this is summing over prices. So at each price, how much are consumers going to demand? So now what we want to do is check at each one of these prices, and I think in this problem we're given that the marginal cost is 10. So I'm just going to go ahead and write $10 here, and that is supply. The other problem was 30, now it's 10. Okay, So now we have to check at each price what the total demand is going to be. Okay, so at a price of 0, the total demand is going to be 5 feet plus 4 feet plus 3 feet, so 12 feet. So at a price of 0, we're going to have 12 feet out here. So that's our first point. At a price of 5, we're going to have Manny demands 4 feet, Mo demands 3 feet, and Jack demands 2 feet, which is going to get us 9. So at a price of 5 here, we are going to have, say, 9 feet demanded, right? And then at a price of 10, we're going to have 3 feet plus 2 feet plus 1 feet, 6 feet demanded. So we'll have 6 right here, 6 feet, and that's going to be another point on our demand curve. And then we can have at a price of 15, we're going to have 3 feet demanded, so, right, because at 15, Manny's going to buy 2 feet and Mo's going to buy 1 feet. So that gets us 3, and this might be 3 feet here. And at a price of $20, there's going to be 1 foot demanded, and that's going to be by Manny. So at a price of $20 here, there's exactly 1 foot demanded. Okay, so now we have derived the private good demand. And now obviously we can find where the supply equals demand is at 6 feet here at $10. And so obviously the way we go about deriving these demand curves and the equilibriums that we come to and the quantities that will be supplied drastically change when this is a private good versus when it's a public good. So hopefully that gave you a better idea of kind of how we can think about demand curves for public goods and private goods, and how, if we have information on their demands, how we could derive those demand curves.